Do you fit into the man box? Let's have a look. Hello everyone and welcome to this episode of Heiser Says. I have my morning coffee and I'm ready to check to see if I fit in the male stereotype, the man box, from Men's Line Australia. So this is a support and telephone counselling line, and they've prepared this piece, little article about male stereotypes and the man box, and I thought I'd go through it because I'm pretty much in the man box. Whether we like it or not, we are constantly bombarded with gender stereotypes. From the day we are born, we all receive subtle and not so subtle cues on how to be a man. From baby boys wear blue. Well, I'm actually, yeah, that's blue never used to be a boy color back in, a couple hundred years ago. So, to real men don't back down from a fight, gender stereotypes are embedded into our culture and reinforced by roles and media. I wonder why they're embedded in our culture. Maybe it's a result of the environment that derived our culture throughout history. Maybe it's a natural thing. These ideas are not new. Well, I just said that. Discussion around gender stereotypes has been around for a long time. Nah, well, yeah, not the type of discussion we're having now. Third wave feminism is getting a bit stupid. But a recent series of studies shed new light onto the practical importance of impact of these norms. The Australian study involved men aged 18 to 30. Oh, see, I'm out of the box. And was conducted by the Jesuit Social Service Men's Project. It discussed the concept of a man box and identified 7 key concepts that represent some unhealthy and damaging social pressures that young men are subjected to. Okay, remember that, unhealthy and damaging. Men that conform to these stereotypes and agree with the statements are identified as being in the man box. Okay, so let's all go through this man box. And guys, let me know in the comments, are you in the man box? Ladies, let me know, are your partners in the man box? So let's go through this. The unhealthy stereotypes of the man box. Self-sufficiency. Okay, that doesn't sound unhealthy at all, but let's read what they say. Talking with others about your issues and concerns is weak. Men should figure out their personal problems without asking for help. Well, generally, I'd agree with this. Men should be stoic, should learn about Stoicism, should learn about philosophy. Our education system should allow all people to be self-sufficient and regulate their emotions. If something goes seriously wrong and you need help, of course, you should go and get help. That's fine. I've got no issue with that. But generally, I would probably agree that you should be self-sufficient, and you are, 90% of the time. If your wife leaves you, if there's a disaster, if that's when you should call out for help. Maybe that's what they're trying to frame here, but I think men should be self-sufficient. Acting tough. A guy who doesn't fight back is weak. Guys should always act strong even if they feel scared and nervous. No, not really. I don't think you should act strong. I think you should be strong. Build up your character. Have values that you stand by. These are funny how they've written this, aren't they? It has this whole male toxic masculinity vibe. And more and more I'm thinking that these lefties, particularly all in Parliament, all the women crazy about the men tormenting them apparently, and when they're just as vile in Parliament here in Australia, is it to do with the men they surround themselves with? How many of these lefty men end up being sex offenders or sex pests or these type of things? Physical attractiveness, that's a bad thing, an unhealthy stereotype. Successful men look good. Yep. Yeah, that's true. If you're tall, handsome, you've got the halo effect, you'll get more stuff. But spending too much time on your looks is not manly. Yeah, that's called vanity. You're Jesuits, you should know about that. Vanity is not a good thing. Being vain is not a good thing. I can, if you're interested, guys, there's plenty of good Facebook websites and YouTube groups that really help you, sharpen your look, getting your suit nice and everything like that. But you don't want to be vain. You don't want to be preening yourself in the mirror all the time, or going to the gym and just staring at yourself all the time. But, you know, you want to take care of yourself. You want to, you know, if you're overweight, you want to lose fat. You want to lose weight. You know, you want to get healthy. That's not a bad thing. That's something to aspire to. Rigid gender roles. Men don't do household chores. Men should be the financial providers for their family. Now, my wife and I, we have traditional gender roles in our household. It wasn't always that way. You know, we met at university, we started a business together, you know, it was quite equal in what we did. You know, the housework, we'd actually hire a maid to come in and clean for us, or actually a whole family to clean for us. But when our lives changed, when we had a family and children, you know, Rachel we both had to adjust to the roles and responsibilities that we had. She's now spending more time taking care of our children than I possibly can. We're homeschooling, so she's educating them as well, and she's still breastfeeding another child. So with that comes some responsibilities. And it's also my responsibility to provide for the family. So, you know, I'll be making this video here, and then today I'm quite fortunate because of my business. I can work from home, so I'll be doing work here all day. And Rachel's out with the kids, visiting the park and going into the city, you know, doing shopping and some chores. So I've got no problem with gender roles. I spoke to a young lawyer the other day, 25 years old, and I was talking to her about just the conditions in her industry, because it's very tough. It's very competitive, very stressful. You meet a lot of lawyers that go grey real quick. It's very similar to architecture, actually. If you go to my other website, my other YouTube channel, The Practical Architect, there's a video on there of Rachel heavily pregnant and all of us working right through the night to meet a deadline. So, you know, we've done it all. We can relate. And she was saying how she loves the stress, she loves the pressure, it's really good. And I go, well, yeah, you're still too young to have kids, aren't you? That's all going to change when you have children. And she said, oh, I need to find a house husband. That's what I'll do. He'll stay at home and raise the kids. And I responded to her, I'm going, yeah, but there's no way in hell you'd be attracted to a man like that. And she knowingly said, yeah, you're right, yeah. So, you know, we're a bit hardwired for biology. Most people who don't kind of gravitate to these things once you have a family unit, it doesn't work as well. You know, not that it's a bad thing. You know, Rachel, I asked her, are you happy here? You know, taking care of the kids and the household. She goes, yeah, you know, I've done the career. To hell with it. This is much more rewarding, spending time with the children. Because if you haven't had kids, guys, you won't understand. It really puts a whole new perspective on your life. And a lot of the bullshit that you've been saddled with and baggage in your younger years, you just go, you stop caring. It's like when you're a dad. You can make your own people so you don't care anymore. Homosexuality and homophobia. Gay guy is not a real man. Straight men should not have gay friends. So I don't agree with that. I think that should be soyophobia. So soy boys are not real men, and normal men shouldn't have soy boy friends. That's how I'd frame that, because, you know, I have gay friends. I've employed gay people. You know, it doesn't really matter. How you achieve your sexual pleasure, so long as it's legal and not with, you know, someone that's not consenting, really shouldn't matter. It's a personal thing, you know. But then it's also when you're talking to certain people, going, how do you feel about these you know, overly overt people that are running around regardless of their gender or their orientation? And, you know, that can be just as frustrating to them too, because the thing is, you know, gay people are normal. It's all the bloody activists that aren't. Hypersexuality. A real man has as many sexual partners as possible. A real man never says no to sex. Well, I think most men will never say no to sex, regardless of if you're a real man, just out of habit. I don't think you should have too many relationships, particularly before you get married. You know, the whole thing, the more partners you have, it's worse for women. The more partners you have, the worse effect it has on your ability to pair bond. It's just that simple. It's evolutionary. I can see how some guys, you know, the whole MGTOW mob running off banging girls left, right, and center. And, you know, I had a business colleague who'd gotten divorced. You know, he was older, in his 40s, 50s. And he'd just discovered Tinder. And he'd figured it out. He'd said there's so many of these young girls with daddy issues. So many of them. So he writes to them going, oh, be gentle, it's my first time on Tinder. And they'd just be lining up. All these, young little 20-somethings, and he'd be having just sex all the time with them. And he said after a while, it got boring. Because you can't have a conversation with them. You just want to go out and have a chat at dinner. You can't. There's too much of a gap. Which I found really interesting, particularly when he was telling that to another guy who'd just gotten divorced and was so excited about this thing that eventually you kind of get tired of it. Aggression and control. Men should use violence when necessary. A man always has the final say in a relationship. Okay, I don't like how they've framed this. Aggression and control. Yes, men should have control over their emotions. Aggression is sometimes necessary. Defending your family, standing up for what you believe. You've got the example of Jesus in the temple casting out the market, salespeople, marketers, business people, the sellers. A man always has the final say in a relationship. Well, that comes down to your rigid gender roles. Rachel has told me she'll defer to my decision on everything, but she has the right to say I told you so. But it also means I have the responsibility for the family and for the household. And do you think that means I'll just go off half-cocked and do whatever I want? No, it actually means I'll spend more time taking her opinion into consideration and asking her counsel. Because we're a husband and wife, we're a team. That's how it works together. But you can't have two captains of a ship. You have to divide your responsibilities and work together to achieve your goals. And I think the way they're framing this, it falls down when people don't realize that. When people don't work together. When you've got two people, constantly butting heads and not appreciating how to get something done as a team. So, yeah, I kind of agree that's sometimes necessary, but not in the context of a relationship. You shouldn't. Physical violence against someone that you're in a relationship with voids that relationship. It's utterly unnecessary. And intimate partner violence is bilateral. Women are just as effective. Women are not as violent physically as men, but psychologically. There's evidence of that. There's statistics, and I don't know why everyone keeps ignoring it. So what are the consequences of being in the man box? Let's have a look. The respondents who support and agree with man box stereotype experience a host of negative physical, mental, and social health outcomes in their lives. 64% have suicidal thoughts in the last 2 weeks. I've never had suicidal thoughts in my life. 55% have been involved in road traffic accidents in the last year. Well, I did do a lot of Uber, and I did back into someone who parked in. Does that count? Although nothing happened, it wasn't serious. 71% have physically bullied someone else in the last month. No, I haven't done that. So, am I in the man box, guys? Or are my opinions too outdated of what the man box is? You have to be one of these toxic, bloody, hyper-violent guys that's suffering from roid rage. Because, you're banging all the chicks, you're suffering from roid rage, beating all the people because you're just working out at the gym non-stop and taking the steroids. And you're acting tough. Is that the stereotype there? So let's see, they want to create new norms. The study recommends emphasizing the huge body of work associated with shifting these stereotypes by redefining and role modeling new norms for an Australian male. Let's have a look, an Aussie male. Asking for help is a sign of strength. Tough men show their vulnerabilities. Authentic men are attractive. Domestic roles and chores are not defined by gender. Gender identity is independent of biological sex. This is coming from men's line. This stuff is coming from men's line. Lasting relationships are the most fulfilling. Benevolence and collaboration trump aggression and control. So asking for help is a sign of strength. Yeah, I guess having when you need it, but I think developing systems so you can cope with difficult situations should be emphasized. Resilience should be emphasized. Tough men show their vulnerabilities. I guess sometimes, men are able to show up, but then that can open you up to attack, can open you up to being taken advantage of. The world isn't as nice as the social justice warriors think. authentic men are attractive. I don't understand what that means. I think confident men are attractive. You know, if you're confident, if you're naturally good looking, you win. You're confident, you got a chance. If you can make women laugh, you got a chance. If you can dance, I can't dance for anything. But if you can dance, women love that. Domestic roles and chores are not defined by gender. Well, yeah, I mean, we've got pretty traditional gender roles in our house, but I still do a lot of chores. I do a lot of cleaning. But Rachel still has the man chores, which is all the stuff outside the house. Oh, look at all these gross bins, Florian, all these nappy buckets. That's a man chore. You've got to take that out. Oh, climb up the roof onto the gutters. That's a man chore. And she goes, I don't care if I'm a hypocrite. It's a man chore. So, you know, you just cop it. Gender identity is independent of biological sex. Oh, grown. That's just SJW rubbish. It's if you're having gender dysphoria and if you're having these issues, I'd be getting professional help. I hope they would push you towards getting therapy from a psychiatrist to devise a plan and strategy to deal with that, not just throwing out a one-liner here. You see, in the UK, you've got 74 kids in one school that are transitioning, apparently. A lot of them are autistic. Now, that you may not think that that's related, but you know, when you're autistic, depending on how functioning you are, it can have a lot of issues with fitting in. And you know, if you throw someone a reason for them not fitting in, I'll do a video on that one later. Lasting relationships are the most fulfilling. Yes, I agree with that 100%. Benevolence and collaboration trump aggression and control. Yes, I agree with that too. The results of this study are both challenging and confronting. Well, guys, let me know what you think. You know, are you in the man box? Do you like the fact that we should change this one, the homosexuality, homophobia, to soyophobia? You know, do you have friends that are suffering from soyophobia? So, guys, please let me know in the comments what you think. Do you reckon this is appropriate to be coming from a men's support group? Am I just too old because I'm above the 18 to 30 group that my opinions don't matter anymore? That I'm a lost cause? Maybe I am. Guys, take care, like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you all again next time. Bye for now.